In my last screencast, I showed you how to make objects on the screen move. So if I press run right here, my lobster moves, but you see how he gets stuck on the edge of the screen? My crab I can control with the keyboard, and that's what I'm doing right now. But he also kind of gets stuck on the edge of the screen, or he might kind of just ride across the top of the screen, or the bottom of the screen if I turn him just right. So what I want to do is I want to make my crab and my lobster automatically turn when they hit the edge of the screen. And so in this screencast, I'll show you how we can do that and how we don't have to write the code the same for both objects, where we can write the code once and use it for both objects. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to write the code in the lobster class right now. So here's my lobster class, and you can see I just have them moving too. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to write a method. So I'm going to come in here, inside my class, make sure you're inside the green curly braces here, and I'm going to write a method. So I'm going to write public void, and I'm going to call it turn at edge. That's the name of my method. So if you notice, my method is a void because it doesn't really do anything. It doesn't come up with a Boolean. It doesn't come up with an integer, so it's just going to be a void. And then the name of my method um, is typed in camel case. So here's what we're going to do. We can use some if statements to help us out. We're going to write if, and then in parentheses, we're going to use a method called getX. And that gets the x coordinate of the object on the screen. So I'm going to say if getX is greater than or equal to. This means greater than or equal to. Then I'm going to use another method called getWorld, parenthesis, parenthesis, because it's a method, dot, and I'm going to get width. And what this is this gets the world, and then this method gets the width of the world. My world is 600. And I could just write 600 here, but if I use get width, then I don't have to change numbers if I ever change the width or the height of my world. I'm always going to get just one less of it, so I'm going to go -1. So if the x coordinate of my lobster is greater than or equal to basically 599, I want him to turn, and I'm going to make him turn maybe 7. And I put a semicolon after this. Now, just to test this out, I'm going to call this method turn at edge in the act method, and I'm going to try it out. Compile it, make sure I have no errors, come out here. Now, when the x coordinate gets close enough to here, I'm going to make him turn at the edge, so he turns 7. So I'm going to press run, and watch, and my lobster kind of hits the edge of the screen and he turned. Let's do it one more time. He hits the edge of the world, he turns, and then he comes down that way. Now, but he's stuck down here. So what I could do here is I need to change my method just a little bit, and it works pretty much the same way. I could do else if, I could write get y is greater than or equal to. Again, I could use the get world method dot get height. And again, I'm going to subtract 1 from it so that my lobster's turned. Maybe on the bottom I make him, maybe I want him to only turn maybe 4 or 5. So I'll say turn 5. Now if I compile this, we can just check and see what my lobster will do. So I'm going to press run. He turns 7 there, he turns 5 there. And he's going to get stuck over here, and that's some more code that you can add later. I'm not going to show you how to do that now. But now let's say I want my lobster or my crab to also do that. I also want him to do that. My options are pretty simple. I could copy this whole method into my crab class code and call it in my act. Or I could do something that makes my life a little bit easier in Java. I'm going to make a new subclass. I'm going to call it, I don't know, animal, or I like to call things that makes things sense for coding. So I'm going to call it moving things. So anything that moves is going to be a class. So moving things. Now, if you look on my screen, crabs move, and so do lobsters. So I want those to go underneath moving things. So I'm going to go to lobster, and I'm going to say that where it says public class lobster extends actor, that means that actor and lobster, anything an actor can do, a lobster can do. Well, I want a lobster to do anything a moving things can do. So I go into my lobster class, I'm going to change actor to moving things. When I press compile, now look, lobster's underneath moving things. And I want my crab to be the same thing. So wherever it says public class crab extends actor, I'm going to say moving things. I compile that. Now, all it did was kind of rearrange the way this looked over here, and nothing will change. My program still runs exactly the same, but look, my crab still gets stuck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this method. I'm actually going to cut it. I'm going to cut it right out of there, but I'm going to leave turn at edge in the act method right here. I'm going to compile it. I'm going to have an error there, and that's okay. I'm going to go to moving things, and I'm going to paste that method in there. So I paste it in there. Look, I don't have to call it in the act method because moving things, there's no moving things on my screen. This class, there's no moving things, but there are lobsters and crabs. Now, if I look here and I compile this now, I get no error because turn at edge is actually in the moving things class, and a lobster extends moving things, which means a lobster can do anything a moving thing can do. So anything that's in this code, a lobster can do or a crab can do. So if I put turn at edge in this method here, turn at edge right here, my crab will also turn at the edge. So I can compile this, and now watch, my lobster will turn when it hits the edge, and it'll turn when it gets down here. So will my crab. Press run, lobster turns, crab turns. Okay, so that's how we can use classes and inheritance and extending other classes to make our coding just a little bit easier.